Thank you so much. My name is Apio Nancy from Wafula and Company Advocate. I'm here with my colleague, Counsel John Wire. Just to remind our viewers, you can always follow us. We are on different social media platforms. You can also comment, please, and we share. Counsel John.
Yes, Counsel Nancy.
Today we are having a very interesting topic.
How interesting is it?
Caveat, if I may say caveat. We have caveat on letters of administration, on vehicle, but for today specifically we shall dwell on land. Tell our viewers out there, what is a caveat?
Before I highlight much about caveat, you were talking about confusing injunction with caveat.
Yes, please.
Injunction is an order which is issued by court, and the purpose is to maintain status quo until substantive matter is investigated and fully determined. A caveat is lodged at a particular registry. For instance, if it is a caveat on titled land, you lodge it at a register of lands. Caveats on motor vehicles, that one is lodged at URA. But there are also caveats which are lodged in court. For instance, if we are family, our parents passed on without leaving a will, so you maneuver to acquire letter of administration without my consent, without my knowledge. I am free to move to court to put a caveat on that application. There is also a caveat on persons intending to contract marriage.
Hey, that's an interesting one.
Very interesting. Precisely, a caveat is simply a notification to the public that you have interest in a particular aspect. For instance, if it is land, you will be notifying the public that you have interest in a particular land, and therefore they cannot proceed to deal in it without your knowledge or without your consent.
Now, can you please kindly highlight to our viewers the different example of caveats that we have?
I have highlighted the examples, but just to give more clarity.
Yes, please.
In our daily dealings, we may be aggrieved. For instance, you buy a vehicle and that vehicle is stolen. So because the vehicle is stolen and you have the logbook, your remedy is to quickly lodge a caveat at URA so that the person who has stolen it does not cause transfer. And that notification is reflected in the documents at the registry. If it's land, the register will be able to reflect. If you are conducting a search, registered land for this case, you conduct a search, you will have particulars clarifying that someone else has an interest. So if I marry you here and then tomorrow our producer develops an interest in you, and then I discover that you are about to contract marriage, I can lodge a caveat to notify the registrar of marriages that an illegality is likely to happen. Then the other one, of course, I talked about it happens in matters where you are applying for probate. If the deceased left a will, if someone died tested, but someone died intested.
I was about to ask you, you are saying probate. Our viewers outside there may not be able to know that.
Probate is a grant which is given to the executor named in a particular will. You pass on, you name your brother as someone who will enforce your wishes, who will preside over the distribution of property. So that person goes to court to get the order. That order is what we are calling probate. So if there are, for instance, 3 executors and one decides to go to court without their knowledge, the 2 will move court to have that copy so that the proper procedure is followed.
Okay. Then who may lodge a caveat? Because I don't think I can wake up from here and tomorrow I go there to the land registry or URA to lodge a caveat. Who may lodge a caveat?
any person who is aggrieved with the interests in the subject matter. For instance, if it's land, assuming you have freehold certificate of title, but you gave out lease, okay? And then someone with the lease discovers that you are planning to issue lease in respect of the same land. That person will be able to move to the registry to lodge the cap. So someone agreed. This could be a mortgagee, a person to whom property is mortgaged. For instance, you go to a money lender, you pledge your land, stating this is security, I need 40 million, I will be able to pay back within 3 months, only to discover that actually I have sold that land to another person. So the money lender will now run to the land registry to put caveat forbidding transfer of the property until his or her interest is satisfied. There might be beneficiaries, children of the deceased, realize that the administrator sold the property without their knowledge, and because the administrator has authority to deal in the property, but if they don't have consent, if they are not agreeable, they can now run to the land registry. Yeah. Or we might be joint owners of the land. Then I forge your signature. I even attach your ID, passport photo. So when you discover, the remedy is lodging a caveat to forbid, so that someone who has dubiously dealt with me does not benefit at your expense.
Okay. So now what is the effect of lodging a caveat?
The effect is that it neutralizes the transaction envisaged. It forbids dealing in the property, or it neutralizes the process. If it is a process to acquire letters of administration, of course that process stops temporarily, so that parties are heard in the main suit for court to determine whether the caveat, or someone who has lodged the caveat, has genuine interest. If it is a motor vehicle, it means anyone who will cause transfer or who will purport to register a mortgage will not succeed. Why? Because there's someone with an interest. So it secures you as you now go into the nitty-gritties of formalizing things.
Then explain to our viewers the circumstances under which I may utilize a property which has a caveat. For instance, in land, let's say land. Someone has lodged a caveat and I would want to utilize that land.
You want to utilize that land?
Yes.
Well, if someone has lodged a caveat, ascertain which grievance. Of course, the particulars and the address are normally reflected. So if you know them, engage them directly. If there are issues you have not corrected, correct them so that you get consent, and then that caveat is either removed or withdrawn, depending on circumstances. So it is an issue of correcting the mistake.
So from what you're saying...
Or if the caveat has lapsed. If the caveat has lapsed, then the property will not be encumbered. So because caveats are normally registered as encumbrances on the title. In fact, the Supreme Court pronounced itself in quite a number of cases. One of them being Frederick Zaba, that you cannot buy property which is subject to a caveat. And that's why we emphasize to the viewers, once you develop interest to buy land which is registered, conduct a search at the registry so that you determine whether that land has third-party interest. Should you move blindly, then you have a reason to blame yourself. We will have done our part.
Then another thing, by the way, does a caveat last forever, or because you're saying I can only deal with the caveated property when the caveat has lapsed, or when it has been withdrawn, or by consent?
Of course, caveats may lapse. If a caveat has not lapsed, you can apply to the registrar of titles stating your particulars and reasons why the caveat should be removed. Now the registrar will cause notes to be served upon the caveator. That's why when you are registering caveat, you put your registered address. In most cases, they put addresses for the lawyers.
Okay.
So if they give you notes, and this one goes to people who register box numbers but take a year without checking them, they will give you, because the notes will not be brought to your home where you stay. No, the notes will be given to the registered address which you put. So if you put the address of your friend and notice is given, you have not responded, the registrar will proceed to cause removal.
Then, can you briefly highlight to our viewers the procedure?
Maybe just before I go to the procedure.
Yes, please.
So once you are notified, and then you are required to show cause why a caveat is not be removed, you are supposed to show cause. If you don't show cause, it will be removed. You are asking circumstances?
I mean the procedure, the steps, just a highlight to our viewers.
Which steps?
How one can lodge a caveat.
If it is court, I will not go into, there are documents you draft. I cannot explain them here. If it is URA, of course you make an application, you attach an agreement which verifies that it's your vehicle, passport photograph, you even attach a copy of the logbook you are assessed, pay the requisite fees, and then if there are questions to ask you, of course you are asked and the caveat is lodged. If it is land, you make an application to the registrar, you attach the passport size photo, you put the statutory declaration explaining why you are aggrieved, and also proceed to describe the property. So from there, there is a form which you fill, and then you are assessed, you pay the requisite fees, deposit the documents at the registry, depending on the registry where the caveat is lodged. This is a process which does not take more than 1 day.
You've talked of URA, you've talked of land. What about marriage? Is the procedure still the same?
And the procedure is not the same, but today we are not looking at marriage. However, once you go to the Register of Marriages, is able to guide you on the necessary forms that you fill. But you should also have an application.
Then what are the benefits? If I caveat my land, what benefits do I get?
A caveat, the first benefit is that you will have restricted dealing in your property. Someone cannot cause transfer, cannot lease, cannot sublease if it is a lease, cannot mortgage, not pledge it generally as security. That's the first benefit. And of course, once you do that, you can now sleep very comfortably in your bed. The other benefit, any dealing will be notified. You will be informed about it, so that things don't surprise you. Basically, it's about protection of your interests in the property. You might be registered, you might not be registered, as long as you claim an interest.
So our dear viewers, thank you so much for always staying with us.
In fact, remind them to subscribe.
Please subscribe.
On YouTube channel.
Please subscribe.
And also click on the notification, so that each time we release a new video, they will be the first person to
And
know.
please, if you need any clarification, always leave your message.
Very important.
We shall respond.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for always watching us.